We welcome you here to Sixers Post-Game Live, brought to you by Cure Auto Insurance. Amy Fiddle, Jim Lynam alongside. And Jim, 31-17. That is what the Sixers outscored the Celtics in that final quarter. We saw them down most of the third. Celtics actually took advantage. They didn't even have Kemba Walker for that third quarter. But what was it about the fourth quarter? Was it Joel Embid? Was it Tobias Harris? Was it a combination of the two?
Well, at the offensive end, yes, Aim. But again, this is the second straight game where we've seen the Sixers really ramp up the defense in the fourth quarter. And that gave them a chance, shutting Boston down like that, to, number one, get a little quick pace to the offense. And a lot of times going into Joel Embid, where, as he did all game long, he drew the free throw.
Free throws. He shot 21 free throws. Joel Embid was 17 for 21. The record free throws for Joel, 23. I mean, the free throw disparity was out of control. 36 out of 45 for the Sixers, 13 of 20. Why do you think that was?
Well, if you just take Joel's attempts from the Sixer total, and it's obviously that much more in balance. But I think what it pointed out, Aim, the Celtics were not going on. They didn't want to double team him with a lot of frequency. So what they decided to do was put him on the free throw line. They weren't going to let him make his offensive move and then be shooting point blank over those three centers who, I'm not trying to be flip, but were defenseless once he got the ball in the basket area.
Here's a guy, though, it's not the old hack-a-shack. He shoots 81+% from the free throw line. Another star player.
Second straight game, if you remember back down in Memphis, Tobias was huge at the end of that game, despite struggling a little shooting the ball from the field. But to me, one of the things I like about Tobias, he can get your basket a lot of different ways. And I thought the Sixers did a good job of putting him in different positions to try to exploit the Celtic defense.
Yeah, we saw him get that and one. That's a lot of energy that he showed after that. A guy that doesn't normally show that kind of intensity. Let's cross it over now and welcome in the gentleman who had the pleasure of calling this game, especially that fourth quarter, Mark Zumoff, Ala Abdenabi. And guys, what a fourth quarter it was. The Sixers needed to match the Celtics' intensity. We didn't see that necessarily in the third, but when they needed to, they turned it on, especially late in the game.
And I think credit goes to their defense. And I want to give a lot of credit to Ben Simmons, who was shackled a good part of that second half with foul difficulty, sat a while with his 5 personal fouls, Ala. But I thought he came in and affected the game defensively, and that turned out to be a key for the Sixers in the fourth.
I thought it was all about open shots versus contested shots. When the Sixers got their hands up, the shots became more difficult. At halftime, the Celtics were shooting 50%. That did not continue. The 76ers, I thought defense carried the day in the second half.
Guys, when you're looking at something to build upon, they're going to face this team on Friday. We all talked about no Jason Tatum for the Celtics. They needed to come out and get a win. It didn't look like it was going to be easy from the jump. Can you take something away from this, or is it going to be a completely different team because it looks like maybe Tatum and Seth Curry might be back for that game on Friday?
I think if you're Brad Stevens, first of all, you're saying to yourself, okay, Joel Embid was way too much man for anybody, just about any scheme. Coach mentioned the fact, Ala, that they didn't double team him too much. Maybe they employ a little bit of that. But as far as the Sixers are concerned, maybe they get Seth Curry back. Maybe the Celtics get Jason Tatum back. And that'll change the dynamic for each team dramatically. Yeah, I'm also reminded of the playoff scenario. We played the Miami Heat a couple of games earlier in this season, about a week ago, and Joel in the first game exploded. The second game they adjusted, didn't allow him to. So I imagine the Celtics are going to adjust as well.
Yeah, I think Tristan Thompson and Daniel Tice are going to have nightmares right now when they think about Joel Embid battling them in that low post. We will see you guys on Friday. Thanks so much. We appreciate it. Talk about that low post battle, Jimmy. The Celtics were trying, as you mentioned, to do anything they can. They weren't going to let Joe get those easy buckets. But Joel Embid goes to the free throw line 21 times. He is a guy that makes 80+% of his free throws. There's got to be a different game plan, you would think, as a coach going against a big man that can make that kind of percentage.
Yes, I would think, Aim, but I want to tell you sometimes what's in a coach's mind. When you foul a player, in this case a big guy, that frequently, you're hoping to wear him down so that he doesn't. He's like, you remember that one play that Brad Stevens, he actually challenged?
Yes.
Tice threw Joe to the floor. I mean, this was a very physical, like these weren't ticky-tack fouls. Joe was getting banged around down there. And amazingly, his stamina, like it doesn't wilt. He's every bit as strong late in the game. And to your point, he's also as accurate late game as he is early on.
Yeah, we were out here and we get to watch the game out here together. And you were like, all right, Joe, don't get tired. Come on, Joel. Because you look like, that's a lot of hard work for him. Do you worry about something that Zoo and Ala just brought up that, that's one where we thought they were reviewing for a technical and Boston was challenging it, which was interesting.
Tice had a little act after he pulled Joe's arm, which effectively threw Joe to the floor. He tried to flail as though Joe had, elbowed him into a knockback position. But with the benefit of the replay, it was quite obvious what the call was. But that's the kind of play I'm citing, a physical play. You're hoping to wear a guy down over the course of a 48-minute game.
You mentioned it, though, and so did Zoo and Ala. When they're talking about Joel Embid, they played the Heat, and he was fantastic in the first game against the Heat, and then obviously they made the adjustments. Does it help that he didn't play over the weekend, Embiid, maybe get a little bit more from him the second game because he had to play so much? 41 points.
Fourth quarter, your team really did a much better job stopping dribble penetration and going over screens to prevent open threes. And those that hurt you earlier in the game and were two of the reasons you held them to 17 points in the period.
Yeah, I love that fourth quarter. I actually love the third quarter, the second half of the third quarter, because we were searching a little bit. And I thought the game was that way the whole game. We got out to a great start. They caught up. They took the lead. But I thought the end of the third was big because the second unit was on the floor, closed the gap, tied the game. And then I thought the starters came in defensively. We ran them off the three. We pushed them inside the three-point lane, but we didn't give them easy too. So a lot of deflections. I thought we got our hands on the ball. It was a really hard play game by both teams.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to go to Kai.
Hey, Coach. Can you just kind of talk about Joel? It just seems like it just seems like he has like a different mean streak this year when it comes to just demanding the ball, taking over. What are you seeing out of him?
What you see, same thing. I love how he played tonight because he kind of let it come to him with 40. That's hard to do. But every time they double teamed, he made the pass. Every time they didn't, he attacked. I don't know. I thought early on they wanted to double team. We got those 2 threes off of his passes. They got out of it. He starts scoring. They double team again. We get another 3. I thought that kind of balance from your team is good. And I love that he's trusting that.
Thanks, Coach.
Next, Paul Hudrick.
Hey, Doc. And in that vein, when it seemed like Joel was kind of slowing down a little bit, Tobias really picked up the slack there in the fourth quarter, scoring-wise. How big was that for him to kind of sense that moment and kind of take over offensively?
He was huge. I thought he was huge early in the game, too. He got off to a quick start. I don't think he got but one shot in the third quarter, and so we got to do better there. And everyone does. They have to recognize when you got a guy going. I thought the biggest play offensively of the game, other than Joel's points, was Tobias post-up down low. The post-up with Joel being the passer, which puts teams in a tough spot. So, he was good. Thought Ben was unbelievable. Defensively, first of all, Garden, we put him on Kemba tonight. We put him on Jaylen Brown tonight. We put him on Marcus Smart tonight. It's amazing what he can do for us. And tonight was a great example of that.